Alright, so before we get started, my new single called Sofa is coming out on Friday, so go into the description and follow me on Spotify so that it's straight in your playlist on Friday when it comes out. And if you're not on Spotify, go pre-save it on iTunes or Apple Music, wherever you're at. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, it's Daniel or Dan J, and welcome back to the Dan J YouTube channel. We're calling this Season 3. This is grind season. It's term 3 of year 3, so what better fitting way to call it than Season 3. So today I'm just gonna be ranking study methods. I saw someone do a tier list of this and I thought, you put a couple of things in the wrong place here, mate. So here's where we're gonna go onto the computer and I'm just gonna talk through some study methods and then show you where I'll put them. So for my tier list, I have Study Tube Gods, great, good, average, and meh. Like, meh. And I think quite a few of these might end up in that category, but this is just my opinion. Doesn't mean that if it works for you, then it works for you. Like, that's all it is. Okay, so first up we have Rereading Notes. Now, if you've seen anyone in study YouTube talk about study methods, they'll say Rereading Notes is the worst thing of all time. And yeah, I really do believe it is down there in the meh tier. So I think it's a very meh thing, just rereading the notes. There's obviously what I do when I come towards exams is actively reread the notes. So I use the Cornell method. And so that's basically like answering questions on these notes. And if I don't get it, I use YouTube videos. But just rereading notes is gonna have to go to the bottom for me. So then next we have watching YouTube videos. So watching YouTube videos is actually a really good method, I feel. It's like up there, top tier. Like it's basically like reading the textbook. But of course, revising by reading the textbook isn't the greatest. But I feel like if you're not so much of a visual learner, but more of an audio learner, or even a visual learner with things like Pixarize and Sketchy, watching YouTube videos is actually a pretty good one. So for me, I'm gonna put it in the great category. I think putting in the great category also comes with the fact that you basically need to have the YouTube videos be active. So you can't just sit back, watch this YouTube video, just go on your phone, watch it in the background, take a couple notes, maybe make a couple flashcards, and then that'll make the video watching good. So then we have Anki, and I don't really need to say too much about Anki. I have other Anki videos, one in the eye up here, or it might be on the other side, I'm not sure. But yeah, top tier. And of course, you know me, there is no one on YouTube who I've seen who talks more about past medicine than I do. So question banks, all of that stuff, so long as they're more relevant to your exam, straight to the top tier. They're a good way to gain a wide understanding of knowledge as opposed to just focusing in on one topic. But you can also focus in on one topic if you want to, because they allow for that sort of control, especially on past medicine. Past tests do it as well. And yeah, I haven't tried any others. Let me know what your favorite question bank is in the comment section below. And then flashcards. Flashcards are pretty good. The flashcards I got here are the physical ones, like not on a computer or whatever. The Anki sort of thing was like Quizlet's included in that as well, I guess, with their new features or old features, but sort of newish compared to how old Quizlet is. So yeah, I think that flashcards in general are great if you can space them yourself, but sometimes people can see them as just a really long task to do, even though, yeah, if you just write down things on a flashcard, it all depends on how you do it. You could do it with questions on one side and then the whole thing on the other side, or like just literally question, short answer, question, short answer. So it's essentially like Anki, but on a physical flashcard. Then that's more efficient, I guess, but it all depends on how you work. So I'm gonna put it in great, but it can't match Anki. So next up is rewriting notes. Now, some people say that this is a dead study technique, that it's literally just such a waste of time. But I remember like back in school when we used to do like essays in other languages, I just rewrite the thing until I got it right. And it's a very long way of doing it. Like if there were better methods back then, I probably would have used them, but it works and it does stick when you do it. So if you have the time, I guess it would be a pretty good study method, but in terms of overall efficiency, I'd say it's very, very average. So we move on to our next thing, which is teaching others. Now, teaching others is a great way to understand the topic yourself, because if you've ever been to a teach or whatever, you know Actually, if you've ever been to a lecture before, you know that people are going to ask you the wildest questions. Like, it won't even be relevant to the exam. They'll just be like, oh, I'm just doing some background research. Or maybe they're just in there trying to test lecturers and teachers to see if they're actually legit and they should actually go back and rewatch what they just said now. But yeah, you know that you have to basically research basically everything that you need to do on your topic, and it just gets you into a bit more detail because there's certain things that you might lose as you go through medical school, such as pathophysiology. You might not understand it as well. It might just become more simplified because you understand the other parts of the disease process that are actually, they don't need to be as complex, because once you get further and further along, all you have to do is be able to explain these things to patients and maybe do the occasional teach where you can brush up on your knowledge. They're a good way to get invested into a topic if you want to get better at that topic. Now, rewatching lectures is kind of like watching YouTube videos, except for I've been to a lot of lectures in my time somehow, and they just have not been the most efficient things when it comes to exams, when it comes to actual takeaways for the future. So they can be good, especially if your exams are based off your lectures, then obviously they're like the greatest thing ever. But here at Exeter, the exams are really not based off your lectures unless you're a first year. So I'm just gonna put them in the good category. Now, Pomodoro is the next one on the list, and it isn't really like the other study methods. It's more of a timekeeping thing. Same with music, which is coming next. But yeah, Pomodoro is a really good way to structure your learning, especially if you find it hard to get into the study frame of mind, because then you get into this session, you do your 30, 40, 60 minutes, then take your break, then you come back and you keep repeating those cycles. And it's just a nice way to get started if you find it hard to get started. However, just putting on a timer and then doing something, then spending like 5 hours rest of your day and then going back and doing the next bit of revision is also as good as Pomodoro. But yeah, for what it's worth, Pomodoro can get a good from me. You know me, I love the music. I can't be here revising and then there's just silence in the background. So I'm meant to listen to some like crickets chirping, or me clicking when I'm on Passman, no way. There's got to be some good music, and I know some people have different opinions on the music you should listen to. Some people like music without lyrics should be the thing you should listen to, like just a bit in the background. There's lo-fi radios on YouTube. You can't listen to music with lyrics, that's distracting. It all depends on who you are, because obviously some people find it really distracting if they listen to music with lyrics in it. People like me, a hype song comes on the playlist and now I'm hyping and I'm tapping on my password to the beat of the song, and I'm going even faster than I usually would. So, and it's not like taking a hit on how well I'm doing. Not that would make a difference anyway, because it's just a past question bank. But yeah, I think it's really good, and a lot of study tube gods don't use music. But you know what? I'm gonna put my ring in the hat.
What?
And say it's up there with the study tube god methods. And finally, a popular one is mind maps. Now, mind maps, I think, are pretty similar to rewriting your notes, but except for you rewrite your notes and then you make your notes more concise. It's like people used to do that back in the day. Like it's still a very popular thing. Like you go to a lecture or you watch some sort of video online, you write notes on it quickly while you're watching it, and then you rewrite those notes in a more simple form to consolidate it. But yeah, it's still down there with rewriting notes, so I'm gonna give it an average, and yeah, that's all. All right, so that's 11 study methods sorted by how effective I think they are. Let me know down in the comment section which ones you change and which ones you think were actually pretty accurate. And yeah, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. 50% of people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. And leave a thumbs up if you did like this video, and I will talk to you in the next video.